Puerto Rico lacks in size, it more than makes up for in the energy of its people. On an island only 100 miles long and 35 miles wide, there are almost 1,000 baseball fields. Things are not worth doing here unless done with a passion. To say that Puerto Ricans are crazy about baseball would be an understatement. Every boy has his hero, and in Puerto Rico, that hero is Roberto Clemente. To some, he was an aloof, forlorn man who found it difficult to smile. To his fans, he was an idol, bigger than life, and no one could deny his ability on the playing field. But more than that, he had about him a touch of royalty. It is 1972, and Clemente is fast approaching Hank Aaron and Willie Mays in acquiring the 3,000th hit of his major league career. A man of at least equal ability, Clemente feels overshadowed by Aaron and Mays. But Pittsburgh is not New York or San Francisco, and the charisma is not the same, even with a championship club. Sportscaster Bob Prince.
The Pirates won the championship of the world, and Roberto did not get the MVP award. In that particular year, Roberto felt that he should have been nominated and elected the most valuable player in the National League. He was very much hurt over this, and therefore he would not wear this particular ring. This ring is the ring that he wore when he was selected to play by his peers to play in the All-Star game in 1961. He played in some 12 or 13. This is the ring that said to him, "You are the greatest right fielder in baseball today."
In the beginning, he makes his name with sure precision.
He told me, as he gave this bat to me, that he had gone to church with his mother and father after the World Series, and he vowed to them that he would prove to them that he was, without question, the greatest baseball player in the land. And he hit .351 in 1961.
But he is the first to admit his shortcomings.
When I came here in 1955, we was a bunch of losers. For example, myself, my first year, I make lots of mistakes. I have to admit that. And
his worth as a ball player is recognized in 1970. It is Roberto Clemente Day in Pittsburgh.
Y en la noche de hoy, las palabras de Roberto Clemente para ustedes.
Yo quiero dedicar este triunfo a todas las madres puertorriqueñas, Ramiro, y tan solo no tengo palabras para...
His quiet, proud manner prompts his critics to think of him as a loner, but nothing is further from the truth.
He would say what he wanted to say. Whatever was on his mind, he said it. And sometimes it led to some bitter thoughts with regard to the media.
Well, I am very outspoken. I say when I feel something that not only about me, or I feel something that is injustice toward my teammate or somebody else, I want to say something about it. And in the past, I don't have the best relation with the sport writers.
I got along, I think,
Sports writer Charlie Feeney.
As a writer to a player, but when I was an official scorer calling hits and errors, Clemente always felt that he was deprived of many hits.
We played in Montreal one time, and I hit the ball between short and third, and the shortstop took the ball, threw the ball 1/2 to first base. I beat the throw out. It was an error.
When I say that about Roberto Clemente, all ball players think that they should have base hits.
Now you can't tell me who is the error, because there's no way they can give the error to a shortstop because he took the ball, threw to first base, and still beat it out. It was an error. That cost me a batting title.
He was as good a ball player as Willie Mays, as Mickey Mantle, and I don't think he got the credit with them until late. And I think he was ahead of his time. He knew he was as good as they were before other people did.
And when I lost the batting title, and the last time I bat against Pete Rose in San Diego, I got 4 for 5. And that night I got a double. I bowled over second base, and the shortstop tried to get to the ball. He never touched the ball. And 3 weeks later, Charlie Finney come to me and say, Roberto, I'm sorry, but they took one hit away from you. They turned that hit into an error.
But he was not a home run hitter, which sort of, that took a little bit away from the way the people were catching on. But I think Roberto Clemente in the World Series in 1971 proved that he belonged to the all-time greats.
In the first game, Clemente begins by smashing a stand-up double to right center. It is the start of something that up until now has eluded him, recognition. In the second game, Clemente has to hustle for a fly hit by Frank Robinson. And then follows it with his fantastic arm that is typical. In the third game, a check swing inadvertently chops the ball to Mike Cuellar. At 37, most ball players would have forgotten about trying to beat the throw to first, but not Clemente. The sixth game sees him hit a triple. And then a home run.
Pitch to him from Palmer, and there's a ball hit very deep to right field. Going back for it is Frank Robinson. He's at the wall. He can't get it. It's gone for a home run.
And in the seventh game,
here's Bobby Clemente. Hits a screwball a mile in the left center field. It is going. It is gone. Bobby Clemente continues to totally annihilate Baltimore pitching.
he has played brilliantly, and now, finally, that elusive acclaim is his.
And here with me right now, the greatest right fielder in the game of baseball, Roberto Clemente. Bobby, congratulations on a great World Series.
Thank you, Bob. I would like to say something for my mother and father in Spanish. El día más grande de mi vida para los
On this, the proudest moment of my life, he says to his parents, I ask your blessing.
When I was a little kid, the more I think about it, I'm convinced that God wanted me to play baseball. When I was a little kid, the only thing I used to do was playing ball all the time, with a paper ball, with a rubber ball, with a tennis ball.
The frustration he has felt in the past is now forgotten. He runs a baseball clinic back in his native Puerto Rico and dreams of building a sports city where youngsters can train and, more important, find their niche in life. Born in the small town of Carolina, he never forgets the poverty of his early years or the people who have made him their hero.
I love people, and I love the minority people. I love people that they are not big shot. I like common people. I like workers. I like people that suffer, because these people, they have a different approach of life, of the people that they really have everything in life that sometimes they get bored. So I want my kids to suffer. I want them to have what they're supposed to have, but I don't want them to be rich.
I'm two people, he says. I'm a family man and a baseball player. They are not one and the same.
All right, here we go now into the fourth, and leading it off, Roberto.
In September of 1972, the high-pressure world of Major League Baseball once again gives Clemente a chance he's dreamed about.
Struck out in the first inning. Everybody's set, and they want Bobby to get that big number 3,000. I think manager Bill Burton will
like to see it come right about now, too, so he can get him out of the lineup and let him rest. And here's Matlock's first pitch to him. It's a strike call on the outside corner to the east. Matlock on the 0-1. Bobby hits a drive into the gap in the left center field. There she is. For a double. Papers flying, everybody standing. A double for Roberto.
It is to be the last regular season hit of his career.
Good spot, Bobby.
He had already won 4 Major League batting titles, but this was the moment he had waited for. Once told by a reporter that he threw and ran like Willie Mays, Clemente retorted, "Nonetheless, I play like Roberto Clemente." Such pride is Clemente's hallmark. In December, an earthquake hits the capital of Nicaragua. Only weeks before, Clemente had participated in a tournament there, and he responds by organizing a relief effort. It was New Year's Eve, and he was planning to return for a 3rd time.
My little son, the oldest one,
Mrs.
told my
Clemente.
mother the night before what was going to happen. He was talking to her, He said, he told her to call me and tell me, don't let Daddy go because the plane will crash. He didn't have to go, but he wanted to go to help and to be sure that the people were receiving the medicines, the food, everything. I left them inside the airplane at 5:30 in the afternoon. We wait for the baggage, like 1 hour. Then start raining, and we wait another half hour for the rain to stop. When we went back home, the telephone was ringing, but then I had to put the alarm off and then open the door. And when I was trying to put the light on, the telephone stopped. On that moment, I didn't think that was him because I thought that they were arriving to Managua by that time. But after everything happened, then I was thinking that probably was him because that was around 20 minutes to 8, and they were still at the airport. Probably was him.
Divers from the United States Navy have joined the search for the plane which crashed in the Atlantic off Puerto Rico last Sunday, killing baseball star Roberto Clemente and 4 others. Clemente, a perennial star.
He was coming to Nicaragua with a big help, and some people might cry when they hear the bad news.
Ahora, el Orfeón Impacto Bautista de Carolina interpretará para ustedes el himno preferido de Roberto Clemente.
"I want no one to weep at my wake," Clemente once said. His was the song of the happy man, El Hombre Feliz.
We had the largest turnout in the history of the Hall of Fame voting. It was a unique ballot, of course. It was the only time that one man's name appeared on it. He got 93% of the vote.
He loved to work with children, and he knew the necessities, in Puerto Rico, for example, for the athletes. I feel very happy that Roberto been named for the Hall of Fame. I know that for the youth will be a big incentive.
And he told me that he wanted...
Sports writer Buck Cannell.
Reach that plateau, 3,000 hits. And he wanted to round out 20 years in the National League with the Pittsburgh Pirates. That, unfortunately, he was unable to do. If he had lived, of course, he would have done it because he was in great physical shape, and he was still playing great ball. And also then he said what he wanted to do the rest of his life and give these poor kids an incentive, give them a way to train, a way to play, a way to have top instructors like himself in baseball and basketball and what have you. And he wanted these kids to have a chance a chance that when he was a kid didn't have.
I'd like to point out that most of the nay votes came back with a little note attached saying, this is not a no against Roberto Clemente. We believe he belongs in the Hall of Fame. It's an objection to the waiving of the rule.
The tragic accident of his death has nothing to do with it. He would have been the first anyway. 5 years after he retired, he would have been the first Latin American.
Baseball Hall of Famer Monty Irvin.
I think it's, he's just doing they're just giving this honor just a little soon. And I'm just delighted to the fact that he said that I motivated him into becoming a baseball player.
Roberto was a cinch from the minute he put on that Pirate uniform.
We have an award which we created to recognize our game off the field. We have this year renamed the award, I think, as fittingly as anything we have ever done, and I do think it's most perfect. We've renamed it the Roberto Clemente Award. I would ask our good friend, Mrs. Vera Clemente, to come up and make this presentation to Al Kaline.
It is a great honor for me to present the Roberto Clemente Award to Mr. Al Kaline. He's not only a good ball player, he's also a fine man. And I'm sure Roberto is happy and he will be always happy, close to our Lord. And I know he will be happy when ball players like him, excuse me.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Clemente. This is the finest award I've ever received, and the finest award any player could receive. I am very grateful for it. First, because it comes from baseball, which has been very good to me. Secondly, because it is named for Roberto Clemente, the greatest right fielder I ever saw play.
Up until 19...
Joe Brown, general manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates.
I felt up to that time that the greatest all-around player that I had ever seen was Willie Mays. But from 66 on, I would have to say that the greatest player that I've ever seen, I've been around baseball over 30 years, worked in it as let's say, a professional. Roberto was the greatest.
After a season in Montreal, he just put on that Pirate uniform, and there was never a shadow of a doubt that he was a superstar. I first met Roberto when he had just been signed for the Santurce Club in Puerto Rico by Pete Zorrilla, who was the owner of the club at the time. He signed him for a bonus of about $400, ridiculous. Of course, he was a young, untried kid then, 18 years old, but he soon blossomed forth into a great star that he was.
On an attempted shoestring catch, Clemente misses the mark, but follows it with a fantastic all-out effort that is typical of his style.
But he was a purposeful ball player. He always tried for perfection. He was a great base runner, and naturally, as I said, a great hitter, and one of the greatest arms baseball has ever seen. He was tremendous. He had they call him in some of the countries in Latin America, they call his arm the bazooka.
His fans are loyal, and there are rarely any boos. When I was a rookie, he recalls, I had no special friends. After the games, I was happy to stay and sign autographs. Somehow, I feel the kids of that era are still my friends today.
And I used to watch Monty Irvin play when I was a kid. I idolized him. I never would have enough nerve. I didn't want to look at him straight in his face, but as soon as he passed, I turn around and look at him.
I just want to say that here and now that I'm very delighted to have been paid this compliment by Roberto. And if I had anything to do with Roberto becoming a baseball player or becoming involved in baseball, I think that my life in baseball is complete.
But some think of him as a hypochondriac, seemingly plagued with illness and always forlorn.
Hypochondria is a person that cannot produce, and at 38 I prove it to you by playing and running and diving the way I do.
Certainly the idea that he was a sad person was far from the truth. I think Roberto had two faces. A public image where he was very dignified and somewhat stern, and a private image where he was around people that he was at ease with. In the clubhouse, among his friends, Roberto was a great mimic. Our team doctor, Dr. Joseph Feingold, is a Jewish man, of course. Roberto and he were very, very close. And Roberto used to mimic Dr. Feingold, and if you ever heard a Puerto Rican Jewish accent.
It is spring again, and the Pirates are in training, but it's not the same, and Manny Sanguillen feels the loss.
Well, that's really is being so hard because we used to see him for 18 years, and we're still looking for him, and we are still looking to hear the words to him and see him making a fantastic catch in right field, get us on line drive.
Pirate manager Bill Verdon.
His abilities and his flair was all natural. I mean, he did everything because it was natural, not to put on anybody, not to be a phony. It was all genuine and all there, and when he put effort on the field that we saw him do every day, we know that that was Roberto Clemente. Without a doubt, everybody misses him, and every time they look into right field, every time somebody makes a play in right field, or somebody runs the bases real well, or makes a fantastic play, why, immediately, automatically, Clemente runs through your mind.
Pirate slugger Willie Stargell.
Thereafter, he'll be with us all year, and he'll be with me personally all my life.
As far as can anybody replace Roberto Clemente, no way. I don't think you can fill those shoes. I think, of course, somebody plays there. Fortunately, on our club, we got some people that are capable.
I think the impact of spring training will probably be the last week, and then it will carry on during the season. When we really will miss Robbie is opening day.
First, I want to call to your attention the fact that as a living tribute to Roberto, a great friend and
Pirate President
each member
Dan Galbraith
of the Pirate team will wear the number 21 encircled in a black band on his left sleeve for the balance of this season. A uniform with the number 21, however, will never be worn again. It is my honor at this time to announce and officially retire Roberto's number and uniform. This is the highest honor that can be paid to an athlete. I ask my father, John Galbraith, to present Roberto's last road uniform to Roberto's mother. And it is my privilege to present Roberto's last home uniform to his wife, Vera, and their three sons, Robertito, Luis, and Enrique. Vera, may God be with you always.
It is said that the death of any man diminishes us all, and that is especially true of good men. But heroes in particular have a special quality, that of providing hope to the generations that follow.
I think one of the ways to remember him is if we can build this project. For so many years, he was planning to make the sports city. If the people they want to help, they can mail their donations by check or postal money orders to Pittsburgh, to the Roberto Clemente Memorial Fund.